Today, what you're going to attempt is cross lap. Okay. Everybody says it's easy, and then they start them, and then they get frustrated, and they say, "Oh, maybe it's not as easy as I thought." Basically, you got two boards. You're going to take half off the top here and half off the bottom here. When you put them together, how I'm going to grade these is to see how smooth. First of all, see how smooth they are here. If they don't join up smooth, in other words, one under and one's over or whatever, they don't match up, that's counting points off. So it should be flush on these two sides. It also should be flush here. Okay? So if you cut these too deep, you're going to come across here and drop down. Okay, and those are not acceptable. They need to be flush across here and flush on the ends. Okay? How to do that is this. Well, first of all, we've got basically two different types of tubifores. One's a little bit redder than the other one. I'm going to point blank tell you, stay away from the red ones for this assignment, because if you take a look here, the grain is going around and it's a lot harder, and when you start cutting them, you're going to have, it just does some weird things in there. So if you pick up one that looks a little red, you might want to give it to your neighbor, give it to your best, worst friend. In other words, you guys don't need to, don't worry about them, or don't choose them. Okay, here's how you set this up. First of all, you look at your board. I've got a knot here, and that's probably going to, it's going to be right into my cut if I cut on this side. Stay away from knots. Okay, wherever you're cutting, chiseling, stay away from knots. You don't want a knot in your joint, because they are a booger to take care of. So on the other side, I have, I'm clean all the way down to here. So that's going to work. On this one, I want to stay away from this knot. That knot's there. I could probably go ahead and use this side here. I'm going to do this, demonstrate this side on this cut right here first. Just take your boards, put them together. Now if you mark this right, the distance from your shoulder down, should be correct. Okay? Whenever you're drawing your line, which is called scribing, what you don't want to do is to lay your pencil down flat. Because if you lay your pencil down flat, because of the taper on your lead, you're going to get too high. Conversely, you don't want to go clear up onto your point, because then you're going to be undercutting. One of the problems with these tubifores is when they make them, they run them through a shaper which puts a rounded edge on these corners. They do that because in transit or whatever, or just hammer or just using them, if you drop them on the edge, this rounded edge helps protect your tubifore. It makes it tougher. If it was a nice sharp pointed corner and you dropped it, you would damage this edge really bad. It would show. Okay, so they round those over, and by rounding them over, they make the tubifores actually tougher. Okay?
And doesn't that help not get splinters?
And it helps not get splinters. Okay? So with that said, you're going to have a little gap right down here because the tubifore is rounded over. It's not going to lay up against this other tubifore flat. So what you want to do is you want to put your pencil down to where the lead is flat, the pencil is elevated, but your point is going to be riding right alongside your wood. Okay? And one of the things you don't want to do, let's do it this way, is come in here and do a whole bunch of lines. See how this line is thicker than this line? So do you cut on the top of this line or the bottom of this line? This one's thinner, it's more exact. Okay, so this is the one we want to use. Just scribe it once, call it good. Now, how thick is this 2 before, left to right? How thick is this right here? Yes? Huh?
Like about 5 centimeters.
What do you think? 1.5 inches. Okay? This distance right here is 1.5 inches. Now doggone it, why do people call this a 2 before when it's only 1.5 inches?
So it's 4 by 1.5 inches.
What'd you say?
They don't want to remember 1.5.
Okay. Back in the 40s, okay, some engineers, and I'll tell you something, I wouldn't, if I was an engineer, I wouldn't tell my family. Okay? But back in the 40s, 30s, somewhere along in there, some engineers got together and they said, you know, we're cutting all these 2 befores. Can we actually reduce that 2 before down and still have the same strength? 2 before strength is compression. Okay? Because when you put 2 befores in the stud walls, they're being pushed downward. They're not being pushed sideways, they're pushed down. That's what holds your house up, is the studs. Okay? So they kept cutting a little bit more off, a little bit more off, a little bit more off, and they kept pressing down on them with these big, hydraulic compressors, or presses down. And for a regular 2 before, clear down to 1.5 inches by 3.5, it didn't change. The compression rate was the same. So what they did was said, hey, this 1.5 inches is the same as 2 inch. This 3.5 is the same as a 4 inch. No drastic difference. So your log companies, your sawmills, they saw an opportunity here. If you have a log about this big around, and with that log they could get maybe 25 2 befores out of it. Well, they can get probably 30 1.5 inches by 3.5 2 by 4s out of it. So that's an economical thing for them. That's one reason why they're not actually a 2 by 4. It's 1.5 inches by 3.5. And that's one thing you're going to have to remember. Okay? Because that will be on a test quite often. Haley, glasses on, please. Okay. That was a good question. To get this shoulder down here, we're simply going to take a speed square and transfer the lines on both sides. Okay? Now, because this is 1.5 inches and we want to go down half that distance, what's half of 1.5 inches? Anybody tell me? 75. 0.35 or 0.75, 3/4 of an inch. Okay? So you take your tape measure, handy dandy tape measure, you lay it across here, and you find your 3/4 mark. Okay? Now, here's what I do. Instead of marking all 3 sides, I simply use this finger right here, this one here, put it up against the wood. I lay the pencil down on top of it, and I kind of mark right next to it. Now, oops. If I hold my hand right, I can draw that line all the way across, and it'll be the same, rather than measuring each one. Okay? So that's something you can do. If I wanted to come in this far on this side, and I wanted to have the same distance on the other side, do that. Okay. We want to take out this part, this part, this part, and this part. Okay? The part that I want to take out, I'm going to tell you, the part that we don't want is going to be called the drop side. We're going to drop it away. The part that we're going to keep is called the product side. You need to understand that and know it. So if I come up to you and say, what side of the line are you going to cut on? You automatically should say the drop side. Now, which is the drop side? Well, it's the side I colored. Okay. Again, grab the saw with your fingers sticking straight out. Put your thumb down there with the joint out. Now I will tell you this, I already had one accident today. See, he was drawing back, and when he drove back, he came out of the saw curve, and when he went forward, he went down on his thumb. Wasn't a pretty sight. Normally what you want to do is to keep your saw at about 30 degrees. But what I want to do is I want to cut down on the front side till I get to my mark. And then once I get to my mark, I'm going to lower this side and bring it down, make my cut down to my mark on this side. Once I have those two equal.
Was that guy okay?
Huh?
Is some okay?
Yeah, it was okay. It just bled for a couple hours. Okay. Made my shoulder cut. Grab me a hammer. Right there. Can you run, Brandon, run. Run, Forrest, run! Whoa, whoa, where are you going? Right there. Open that up. Just grab me a new hammer. Okay, I'm going to be using a 1-inch chisel. If we don't have enough 1-inch chisels, you can use a 3/4 inch chisel. You know, they're all basically the same for here.
Does it really matter? It doesn't really matter.
Doesn't really matter. Now, I've got my line across the front here. If I put this chisel down right on that line and start chiseling through,
It's going down.
what can happen is that because of the wood grain, you may end up going down too deep. So the wood grain may, instead of going straight across, it may go down. And that's what you don't want. So, to determine what's going to happen with this, I'm going to, see, I didn't go all the way down, I kind of went in the halfway, and that's where I'm going to start. And I'm not trying to take one big piece out. This stuff should come out pretty easy and pretty fast. So it shouldn't take too long. Okay, what I would do on this is I would stop at this right now, and I would cut my next one. The goal is to get halfway down. Now, if for some reason you go a little bit further than half, then on your other one, don't go quite so half. The ideal thing is to make them 50% here, 50% here. Put the two together. But it could be 75% here and 25% here, and it would still work. The 25% one will be weaker, but it would still work. Question? I want the 50-50 right now. And if you get the 50-50 by Friday, get a 2 or 3 of them that's good 50-50s, then I'm probably going to challenge you and say, yeah, let's do it, 75-25. Let's see if you can do that one.
Then 10-25.
Yeah, we'll see. Now, when you get it down into here, you can take your chisel and slowly push in on it. Okay?
What happens if you don't slow it or something? And you go really, really fast?
You're going to probably run into your shoulder and chip it. What I don't want you guys doing is this. Okay? You're not a chisel ram. You take it slow. What I like to do is to get across here. I see my height. Okay? And you got to be careful because sometimes what happens, if you grab a hold with 2 hands and push, you may end up pushing clear across, hitting something.
And hitting your junk.
Looking stupid. So what I like to do is I like to put my hand over the chisel and kind of slice it. Okay? Don't take a chisel, drop it into my table. So all that does is dull my chisels and make holes in my table. Okay? Chisel I can sharpen. Fixing holes in here is a little bit different. These tabletops are about $1,400. That's one of them. It's white maple. The other thing is, this morning I had a couple of guys, I don't know what their problem was, but they took 2 hammers and they started banging the heads together. Don't ever do that.
They're trying to make it spark, I'm guessing.
Well, what happens is, when you hit 2 hammerheads together, because they're the same strength, you crack the insides here. And sometimes when you're hammering, things will start flying off. We do not want that.
People get
Yes, sir.
injured.
Then I think what we need to do is to get busy, and probably about 10 after, 15 after, we can go. Okay? Okay, you can shut that off.